are going to do meatballs. One of our family's favorite. I've been doing them this way for almost 30 years. So I'm going to start with the meatballs, and then I'm going to do a little simple marinara in the back. So I'm going to start with that first, marinara. I'm going to start with an onion. I've said this before, always tuck that finger in, let the knife do the work. I'm not real concerned about the knife cuts on this one because I'm going to end up pureeing it towards the end. But when I chop my onion, I like to set it on a flat surface. And always keep your fingers away from that knife. You got a nice stable flat surface to work with. I got a little bad part there, I'm going to cut that out, no problem. But a lot of people will, I've even seen chefs do this. They start their vertical slices this way. I don't like that because you're going towards your hand. I like to keep it flat so your hand's always away from the knife. But again, if you want large cuts, you want small cuts, so put that aside. Like I said, I'm not concerned about my knife cuts on this one, how small they are, but I'm just going to take these ends off. I always keep a garbage bowl around, so I'm a little more efficient instead of running around the kitchen. I'll take this off, and with this garbage bowl too, I'm going to end up putting these in Ziploc baggies, all these peels, and I'll use it for stock someday. So again, flip that over, make your cross cuts. You want tine, you want small dice. Small dice. You want large dice? Just cut them larger. Alright, so I got my onions chopped. And again, I'm just going to make a simple tomato sauce because there's so much flavor in those meatballs. You don't need to overpower it with the sauce. So you just want to do a nice simple marinara. So on the back here, I've already got my pan heated. I want to start off with a hot pan. So to that, I'm going to add...
What you going to add?
A good amount of olive oil. About a half a cup there to 3/4 of a cup.
So what's up with this brand of olive oil?
This olive oil, Sabina DOP, is probably the best olive oil I've ever had. We're going to put a link up, but Tom Signorelli is my contact for this. If you want to purchase it, we'll put a link at the end of the video for this. Okay?
Link will be in the description.
But again, I've got this, so this pan is already hot, so I'm going to put my onions in there. You can hear that sizzle, that's what you want. Because what I'm going to do with these onions is I'm going to caramelize them. I'm going to get a nice color on there. I've said this before, we don't cook with a lot of garlic, but I am making a lot of sauce. So I am going to add probably 4, let's do 5 whole cloves. And I'm just going to let those brown off with the onions. Alright, I like to refer to my meatballs, the different types of meat I use, is the Dago Trinity. And what I've got here is I've got 2 pounds of ground chuck, I got 2 pounds of ground pork, and 2 pounds of ground veal. And why I like the Trinity is because the ground chuck is definitely for that robust meat flavor. Pork is definitely for the fat. You want that fat to keep your meatball moist. And that veal is just very luxurious. If you can't find veal, and veal, it is pricey, you're perfectly fine to use the beef and pork. But don't leave out the pork. You'd be amazed. So I got 6 pounds total here. Normally what I do is I do 2 eggs per pound, so 12 eggs. I've already cracked my eggs. I like to crack my eggs in a stainless steel bowl, so if you do happen to get a shard of egg in there or a shard of egg shell in there, it will stick to the bottom of the bowl. And hopefully I've got a couple in there that I can show you, but I'm going to whisk these up, give them a good mix, and once they're mixed, let them set for a little bit, and all those the egg shells, if you have them in there, will settle to the bottom of the bowl. Now to my mix, I'm letting my eggs settle, just in case there are shells in there. I'm going to start adding my breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs I like to do 1/4 cup per pound. So I need 6 of these. My breadcrumbs I just buy unseasoned, plain breadcrumbs. The Italian ones you buy, they're already seasoned. You cannot control the seasoning of them, so I like to control my own seasoning. Now to this I'm going to add 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese per 2 pounds. So I need 3 of these.
That's quick maths right there.
That's quick math. So that's my dry ingredients. I've let my eggs settle. I'm going to add those in there. Pour them in slowly. Hopefully I did. I had one. Well, there was a big one there. As you can see right here, it'll stick to that bottom of that bowl. Was that an egg or was that a... No, that was a big sumbitch. So now I'm going to season it. And I season mine very simply. Again, these are supposed to be very simple. They're not supposed to be very overwhelming. So I am going to add 1 tablespoon of salt per 2 pounds. So that's 3 tablespoons. So I got my salt in there, pepper. I'm just going to start grinding away. Maybe a tablespoon. Garlic powder, I'm going to add, let's go 1 tablespoon. Let's go 2 tablespoons for all this. And that's it. So I'm going to start mixing. Get everything incorporated very well. Best tools in the kitchen right here. Don't be afraid to use them. That's why God gave them to you. And when I'm done mixing this, I'm just going to take a little patty out and fry it up. Check for seasoning, see if it needs anything else. Alright, so I got everything mixed. Again, I'm going to just take a little patty out and I'm going to check for flavor. Got a pan going back here.
That's more like a ball if you ask me.
Well, it's probably a ball, but I'm going to patty it out. So we're going to check that for flavor, see if we need any salt, see if we need to add anything. So, alright, I fried up a piece. I'm going to try it, see if it needs anything. It's spot on. The only thing I'm going to add to it is I like to add a nice bunch of parsley. So I'm going to take I got flat leaf here. You could use curly, whatever you get. I'm going to chop this up pretty fine. This gives it a really nice freshness in there. Remember, this whole time I'm doing these, I've got my onions sauteing back there, getting nice and brown. I would say that's probably a good half a cup. So mix that in well. And we are ready to start baking these off. I like to bake mine, especially with the quantity I do. You could fry them in a pan if you wanted to, if you like that char on them, if you like that crunchy texture on the outside. My family doesn't. We're more of a baker, especially again when I'm doing this amount, the quantity I do, it's just easier to bake them. Alright, so the whole time I've been mixing my meatballs, I've had these just browning on the back, and you can see I'm getting a nice caramelized color on there. Nothing's burned. So now I'm just going to add my whole tomatoes in there. And my tomatoes, I like Cento, but again, whatever you're comfortable with. If you like gold tomatoes, whatever you like, I just prefer Cento. Now this is a big can of tomatoes. This is 6 pounds of tomatoes. So I'm just going to put those in there. I wash my can out, get all that goodness out of there. I'm going to set this flame on a nice medium high now, because I want it to simmer out. I don't put sugar in my sauce. I think it's sacrilegious, but some people like it. We don't, so I let this simmer now to get that acid out of there. Alright, so I'm going to start rolling out meatballs. You can eyeball it. Honestly, it depends on the size you like. I'll use an ice cream scooper. Just, pack it up. Now that's a big freaking meatball. That's too big. So I'm going to go a little less than that. We like around 2-3 biters. And I'm just going to freaking eyeball it. Reason why I don't stack these on top of each other, now I got meatball hands, so I got to do this. And so that's why I crisscross them. So let me wash up.
You look so angry when you said let me wash up.
So I'm just going to roll out a tray here. You don't want to over roll them. You want them tight. You don't want them coming apart, obviously. But the minute you're shaped, that's good enough. So again, I'm just kind of eyeballing these, and again, you can whatever size you want. You want smaller ones than these. I don't like going too small because then they will dry out. So you want these are probably about 2.5 ounces. Now this one's a little smaller, but that's fine. They're homemade. It's supposed to be uneven. Alright, I'm just going to finish up a couple trays here, but as I'm rolling these meatballs out, it does remind me of a story. And when Deb and I got married in '93, we had our wedding party over to the house when we got our proofs back, so we can all look at them. But I made spaghetti meatballs, and I made them this exact way, so ever since then I've been making them that way. Alright, so I got a couple rolled out. I'm going to throw them into a 400-degree oven, and maybe 10 minutes at the most. I don't want to cook them all the way through. I want to cook them maybe 3/4 of the way through because they're going to finish in that sauce. Sauce is simmering, so by the time these are ready, I'm going to puree down that sauce. Alright, so I got my sauce simmering on the back. I got the meatballs in the oven. These tomatoes are starting to break down. They're starting to get soft, and that's exactly what you want. So now to this, I already got the onions in there, the garlic, the olive oil. The only thing I'm going to add to this, generous amount of salt, generous amount of black pepper, and at the end, just before everything is almost done, I'm going to throw some fresh basil in there. I like putting the basil in there at the end, so you're not destroying it. It's that nice, fresh, upfront flavor. But that's it. That's all I put in my marinara. All right, so meatballs came out. Again, they're still a little raw in that center. Like I said, I just want to cook them maybe 3/4 of the way through because I'm going to finish them in the sauce. Now my sauce it's been simmering out. Tomatoes are starting to break down. Onions are getting real super soft. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to puree it with a stick blender. If you don't have a stick blender, you could absolutely run to a regular blender. I'm just going to puree this all out so you're not getting... We like a smooth sauce. So I'm just going to puree this all out. And then I'm going to add the meatballs in. Alright, so I got this all pureed out. I'm going to check for flavor. Season as you go. Like I said, do not wait to the end. I add that salt and pepper. That's all it needs. It's perfect. Because remember, you got a lot of flavor in these meatballs that's going to come into this sauce. So I'm just going to add these in there. We're going to let these go for at least 20 minutes. And we'll be ready to eat. Alright, so meatballs are added in there. I'm going to let these simmer in there for about 20 minutes. But now I'm going to add my basil. With your basil, you can chop it up as fine as you want. I just like to hand tear mine. Gives a nice fresh flavor to this sauce.
Aromatic, if you will.
Very aromatic, yes. And that's it. Give that a good stir. Let that go for about 20 minutes and it'll be perfect. Alright, we're done. I cooked some bucatini. Whenever I do pasta, I like to put a little sauce in there. Number one, it keeps it from sticking. Number two, you're flavoring that pasta instead of having just noodles on there and the sauce over it. A little pasta here. Make a little nest. A couple of these gorgeous meatballs. A little sauce on top. I'm going to do a little pecorino romano. And that's it. So let me dig into this and you can see how tender that is. Hope you've enjoyed our show again. Thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you again.